Fired Sars Commissioner Tom Moyane has turned to the highest court in the land to argue his case. Moyane was suspended in March this year and fired last week. The President commissioned an inquiry into Sars and a disciplinary hearing into Moyane's misconduct. However, the former Sars boss argues he was unfairly treated by having both running at the same time. He wants the President to retract his termination letter, arguing that it was based on the interim reports of the Commission of Inquiry. One lawyer argues that the current Sars Act is not clear on who can remove a Revenue Services Commissioner, while the Act clearly stipulates the President has the power to appoint, who holds the authority to remove.
The Act, however, is silent on who can dismiss the head of SARS, the SARS Commissioner. Is it the President? Does the President have the right to do it? Is it the Minister of Finance? Or must due process be followed? Now, in the absence of that provision in the SARS Act, one must go back to our regular labour laws as stipulated in our Labour Relations Act. And that states that a person, before being dismissed, must be given a fair opportunity to state his case against the charges levelled against him.
Roos says the Constitutional Court will also have to decide on whether or not Moyane was given a fair opportunity to present his versions of events.
The decision that the Constitutional Court will have to make, whether the Nugent Commission was an adequate forum for him to state his case, or whether it should have been reserved for the disciplinary proceedings which have now been halted by Moyane himself when he approached the Constitutional Court. So definitely the waters are a bit muddy and there isn't clarity at this point in time, and I would expect the Constitutional Court to provide clarity.
The DA says it's imperative for the President to appoint a permanent commissioner before things get worse.
Tax morality has gone down, and people are not happy to pay taxes when they know that they're being abused and wasted, and indeed many taxes are not being collected because of connections with connected people or high-ranking people. So the reputation is probably at rock bottom. And so the big job now is to restore that reputation, and the acting commissioner is doing what he can, but it does require a permanent appointment.
The President has until noon on Friday to retract Moyane's termination letter. Meanwhile, the acting SARS Commissioner told ENCA the President hasn't given any indication of who will be the permanent head of the Revenue Service. Heidi Giokos, Johannesburg.